Episode 398, Oprah's interview with the founders of Anthropic.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
The founders of Anthropic, the company behind Claude, have pledged to give away 80% of their personal wealth. CEO Dario Amodei and President Daniela Amodei confirmed it on the Oprah podcast on the 19th of May. The pledge is tied to the company's structure as a public benefit corporation. And it was a very fascinating interview. Hello and you're very welcome back to AI 6. I'm Joanne Sweeney, here to upskill 500,000 people in AI in just 6 minutes at a time. Because, my friends, the AI train has certainly left the station. And I do suggest that you listen or watch that interview between Oprah Winfrey and Dario and Daniela Amodei. As siblings, they co-founded Anthropic in 2021. The company is now in talks to raise funding at a valuation of over $900 billion, which would make it more valuable than OpenAI, and over 1 million people a day are signing up for Claude. Oprah opened the interview by asking Claude itself what question she should put to Dario. And here's the question and the founder's answer.
You've said there's a meaningful chance the technology your company is building could cause human extinction, and yet you're racing to build it faster. How do you justify that to the rest of us who didn't get a vote? Dario, would you like to answer Claude?
Well,
I thought that was a pretty damn good question, I must say.
I agree. First of all, let no one ever say that Claude is soft on me or Claude is biased towards me or towards Anthropic. Like, you know,
wow,
Claude throws hardballs.
I
like
thought that
Claude
was pretty
doesn't.
good.
Claude doesn't.
Good.
Claude
Yes.
doesn't pull its punches.
Yes.
So to actually answer the question,
Yes.
This technology is an epochal change for humanity. You know, at some point, humans started to use fire. At some point, humans, built steam engines and factories, and that created the Industrial Revolution. And so when I say things like this, I'm taking a very zoomed out perspective, right? If I said, well, I don't know, I think the Industrial Revolution could lead to very powerful weapons and kill a bunch of people. That's definitely true, right? In some cases, it did do that.
It did do it.
But we understand that the Industrial Revolution as a process, as a technological event, was worth doing. We don't still want to be living in caves, but we need to manage it in the right way. And so the way we think about this company is, look, there's many companies building this technology. It's something that is happening to humanity one way or another.
We're in it.
And there's this train. It's going very fast in some direction. You don't want it to crash. You can't stop the train. But what you can do is you can steer the train. Steer the train so that it doesn't hit the rocks. And I think the way we think about Anthropic is we want to do things the right way. We want to decrease that risk, hopefully to zero.
But there were 7 other notable quotes and takeaways from the interview that I want to share in today's episode. The first was the conversation around standing up to the Pentagon and the revelation that Anthropic refused demands from the US Department of Defense to remove safety guardrails from Claude. The government wanted full access to use the model without safety restrictions, and Dario Amodei explained their refusal simply. It's not worth defending the country if we do things that go against the values of this country. And then he talked about risking the company for the conviction of his beliefs. The siblings revealed they held a serious meeting with their 5 other co-founders before officially telling the military no. Both Daniela and Dario admitted they fully believed the refusal could have ended Anthropic as a business, resulting in the government completely shutting them out. Ultimately, the Pentagon designated Anthropic as a supply chain risk, a label they still hold. And going on their hard lines on military use, Dario outlined the specific carve-outs they fought to keep in their government contracts, They strictly forbid Claude from being used to power fully autonomous lethal weapons, such as a drone army command by a single person, or from being used for mass domestic surveillance on American citizens. Daniela then went on to talk about the no ads privacy decision. They have a strict ban on advertising within Claude. Because users tell Claude highly sensitive and private information, they decided treating data with total privacy made an ads-based business model a complete non-starter. And what about working as brother and sister in one of the biggest AI companies in the world? Oprah dug into their personal relationship, and they explained that they intentionally set hard boundaries to keep some time outside of work where they are just siblings to help keep themselves grounded. And then they also talked about safety over speed as a strategic choice. Throughout the interview, the Amodei siblings emphasized that Anthropic is intentionally trading off rapid, unrestrained scale in favor of slower, safety-led growth, arguing that long-term trust and legitimacy matter more than winning the short-term AI arms race. And then on how they've structured their company. When Oprah asked Daniela about Anthropic's structure, she said, "We're incorporated as a public benefit corporation because our goal is to try and develop this technology as safely as possible." They stressed that because this technology is fundamentally transforming human capability, it cannot be run like a standard tech company. And that is why they structured Anthropic as a public benefit corporation to legally prioritize public safety over pure profit margins. So go ahead and go to Oprah's podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It's really very interesting and I think worth your time. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategy, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organization. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.